Good day and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. We have got a theme today and it's called It's Going Wrong. And what can you say is going wrong? Well, a lot can go wrong, but something in particular that will also highlight some of the main issues that are difficult in Brute War AI, so it's also for the benefit of those wishing to learn about coding Brute War AI, and also for laughs. Because that's an important part of Brute War AI, to see how things can go wrong and do go wrong, and learn about that. Oh dear, here we go. We've got Florian Richoux Aya, and it's doing a cannon rush. It's trying to kill Travis Shelton, but Travis Shelton has gotten hatchery here already, so it's going to take a while for these cannons to finish up. Perhaps the hatchery will finish and Zerg will be able to slip out. Contrary to my usual predilection for games which I haven't seen before, I've got a couple of games which I have seen and are in some way funny, because things go wrong, of course, and there are a couple of games which I haven't seen because we had a lot of updates. We have a new bot again, so the pool's still growing, and I'd like to see how that's playing too, so, well, let's go and have a look. Hatchery finishes and a drone's being transferred, so for the time being I'd say that Travis Shelton at this moment is pretty safe. Travis Shelton, of course, is playing random, has picked Zergs, and I always like the bots playing random. We've now got three. We've got University of Alberta bot by Dave Churchill. We have got Oprimo bot by... oh no, we've got four. Oprimo bot by Johan Hagelbach. And we have got Random Hammer, and we have got, of course, Travis Shelton. This hatchery doesn't seem to be long for this world. Lots of drones are dying, and as you can see, none of those are being transferred. There is no... a human player would say, well, let's not harvest here, it's a bit of unsafe, so let's not do that. Let's just go back and mine again. That's not something that would occur to a human player. Of course, these bots need to have... need to be told that they can't do that, and they haven't, so they don't. Or this one hasn't, and it doesn't. So, lots of pylons being built, and cannons too. Meanwhile, Overlord's keeping tabs on the Protoss army, and as you can see, the Protoss now having succeeded in cannon rushing the main, it continues to cannon rush the main, although the main is dead. And that's also something you should consider, that you need to be able to tell what where you need to deploy your forces, and this drone has been told to mine from this patch. Although the hatchery is now here, it can't really do anything else. It doesn't say, well, let's go and harvest here, this patch is free too. It has been told, and it will do what's been told. Another base being taken by Travis Shelton, and oh dear, here the cannon rushing is still ongoing. Where is that probe? There is a probe, must be a probe surely somewhere. Oh no, the probe is heading back now, and Aya is trying to start a couple of gates. So it is transitioning. It has somehow concluded that the base here is dead, although, oh no, the drone which had been harvesting here is going away. So as you can see, Travis Shelton escaped, now rebuilding its base in the natural. Or is there? There is something here as well. So it's more Zergish now, because it's all over the map now with 3 bases. And even 2 drones here. Aya going for 2 gates, couple of zealots, and I think it's restarting, but there are lings coming. And if lings are coming, you got to have a couple of oh dear, look at that, lings coming in from everywhere. Overlords too, that's always nice. And the zealots don't do anything, the probes have to do it all by themselves. And understandably they don't fare too well versus Zerglings. And now Aya is flat on his back. It's building one more probe, but I think... oh, now the zealots come off. Basically, oh, and it's trying to build in the simulator, so that's not really going all that well. Meanwhile, in Zerg territory, we've got a lair, we have got another base, some hatcheries, a little bit of tech, lots of drones. So that's going quite alright. This poor probe is trying to build in the simulator, which I need to turn this down just... can I? Oh, that's always kind of finicky. to get it right, just the right level. It's trying to build in a simulator because it has been told to do so, and it hasn't got a script which says, well, if you want to build in a simulator you need more minerals than 34. Doubtlessly it's sending error messages to the general process to say, well, I can't, and it keeps being told, well, you got to. Meanwhile, Travis Shelton is building up a huge army. It's got it's got half a supply more than the Protoss army at this point, and the units are coming. Of course, a couple of Zealots are quite a formidable force, but I think in the long run, because the Protoss cannot replenish, and although the Zealots are fighting pretty well, one has died, two have died, and now the Hydras are all over it, and the Hydras can out-micro Zealots like a boss. Ooh, one snuffs it. And another one snuffs it, but by now there are only 3 Zealots left, and I don't know what these 2 drones are doing here. It's really beyond me. More units are coming meanwhile, and another hatchery brilliantly placed. Oh god, we've got queens. The unfortunate thing is that there are only 2 Zealots somewhere. Oh, one is here and one is there, so by now the queens haven't got anything to broodling, because you can't broodling probes. And buildings, of course, you can't either, so that's a bit of a snag, but okay, huge pity. And that's how you see that bots need to make decisions all the time and not just every once in a while stick by them. The frequency of decision making needs to be upgraded, of course. Then you also have more opportunities to go wrong, but by now Travis Shelton is transferring drones all over the place to here for some reason, I don't know why, and also trying to retake this base, but of course then they see the cannons and think, well, let's not. And then they go back and they think, well, let's try again. Perhaps the cannons have left, and the Lings are coming in 1 at a time, 2 at a time, they turn back, and as you can see by the blood pools over here, a little bit of shield damage is all that's being done to these cannons, and they have got a good position, being blocked by the minerals and by the geyser. So this is turning into a bit of a graveyard. Meanwhile, Travis Shelton taking over the map. And oh hello, we've got a Defiler and a Greater Spire already. Lots of tech here. So perhaps it's gearing up to take this base. And Lings are coming in again, only it's not really working. They are... If you are going to hesitate, don't do it in the face of a lot of cannons. You get a bit of a charge of the Light Brigade. Cannons to the right of them, cannons to the left of them, cannons in front of them, volleyed and thundered, stormed that with shot and shell. Boldly they fell to the Photon cannons, and that was the charge of the Light Brigade. The original poem speaks of 600, the noble 600. Then of course I think that the link count, which will be devoured this way, is going to approximate that number. Meanwhile we've got a lot of queens and defilers as well, so that's good. Looks like it's got a consume already because the energy is way too high. And these Zerglings, they could do with a bit of swarm. The queens come and have a look, and they don't see what's going on. The drones still try to take this base. They succeed for 2 seconds, then get killed again. Travis Shelton going all across the map, taking a lot of bases, all kinds of tech being built, and all kinds of production hatcheries in the middle of the map. We've got a Defiler train, we've got 5 now, that's brilliant. And it's just like the meat grinder still working, so there isn't any kind of concerted plan to deal with this setup of static cannons. One Guardian could do it. With the swarms you could do it too, in about 2 minutes, or 1 minute. No, about the time of 3 minutes, because these all these casters would like to have them here with the cannons, and 0 damage being done at all. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit, because this is a demonstration of how things go wrong. You need to have an evaluation, what is working, how can you kill a cannon, and of course you can't kill a cannon with Lings, but you need a lot of them and they need to all attack at once. And that's some kind of yeah, it's a deeper level understanding of the game. It's not just combat values, because you'd say, well, by now we've wasted about 300 Zerglings, and 300 Zerglings should have dealt with this cannon setup ages ago. Unfortunately, also a variable is how these Zerglings attack. If they march in all at once, the cannons would perhaps kill 50, or 50, or I don't know how many, 50 or 100, it doesn't matter. and the cannons would all be dead. But if you keep filtering in one at a time, oh dear, the drone train. The drone train hypersaturating this base all at once, look at that. It is absolutely horrendous. And lots of drones here as well, lots of drones there. Lots of Zerglings sitting around at this base for some reason. And no attacking going on at this point. Oh, and now the Zerglings come in again. And now they come in decent numbers. Here comes a nice wave, perhaps this wave, but it's hindered by the drones. But they are coming to grips with the cannons, and they are going to kill it. Oh, 2 cannons. 3 perhaps? No. Okay, but 2 cannons are dead, and now the Overlords. And you can see the supply for Zerg. They are 200. It's got... it's going to go down a little bit because of this. Of course, it's got the bank to replenish, and the oh god, the Defiler is coming in as well. This one, Overlord, escapes with only a sliver of health left, and these cannons prove so effective against this Zerg who doesn't really know how to attack a static position. And of course, these queens are utterly useless. Even more queens are being built because these have low energy, and there is not a unit in the game on the side of Protoss which can be... oh god, here they come. And a lot of queens die, so... This is kind of a hard lot for Zerg, and I can only hope that before the game runs out, it will have killed these couple of cannons. Otherwise, it will surely lose in points, because Protoss is getting so many points for killing these hundreds and hundreds and thousands of things. Oh, and now we've got a lot of swarm. We've got a hell of a lot of swarm. And the Defilers are consuming stuff left and right. But they are swarming here, and these swarms have been stacked so high, you can't really see what's underneath it. And there should be swarms here, so although Trevor Shelton has got the swarm capacity, it doesn't really use it well. It hasn't been told how to, and it hasn't got a mechanism to learn how to do that, so that's a bit of an issue. Oh, this is going to be the hugest drone explosion you've ever seen. You remember that drone train which came from all across here to do that? Meanwhile, another Dark Swarm batch is horrendously broken, and... or broken is quite well cast, only over the wrong area. Trying to keep my eye on this mineral patch, because as you can see on the minimap, it's not really doing anything. And... oh, lots of activity. Yep, there we go. Oh, they move off all at once. And these Zerglings, they keep dying in droves and masses, and it's just not very much fun. Another swarm goes down, and the Zerglings think, well, what am I doing wrong? I've spent 500 lings and cast a hell of a lot of swarm, and still the enemy is not dying. And it's... Hydras would make short work of this. Ultras would, Guardians would, Mutas, perhaps if they attacked in decent numbers. Same as with the Lings, you can see the minimap is alive with Zerg, transferring units to and fro. Hell of a lot of queens, all with full energy, waiting to brute link something. They are moving all across the map for some reason. The map is blanketed in hatcheries. We've got... oh, I'm sure we've got a unit counter here somewhere. Yeah, we've got 124 larvae. 25, 26. So that's what the Zerg army at this point looks at like. And we've got 60 workers, so that's okay. And upgrade-wise, it's looking okay too. Lots of upgrades, all the tech upgrades, weapons upgrades, and the spells have been researched and all. But still, this Zerg is not able to kill off these couple of cannons. And as you can see, units are being moved in from all across the map. All bases have been taken, most have been mined out already. And oh, this cannon took some damage somewhere. Oh, now 2 cannons die, another swarm in the wrong position, but still another cannon dies, so perhaps that's hopeful. And if the critical mass of cannons dies, it becomes progressively easier to kill the next one. So, pardon me for speeding it up just a little bit more, and that's the great thing of this OpenBW replay viewer. It can take 1024 times the speed. Yeah, keeping it at 64 for the moment. Will this eventually work? Okay, the hatchery has been placed a little bit further back. Cannons are taking damage. 2, 3 more die. That's good. Oh, this extractor isn't really going to work. Another cannon dies, another badly cast swarm. Zerg is not even maxed at this point. It's got a huge army, but a lot of that is in queens. And now, finally, this is the game. with a bank, and oh god, 93. What's the... Oh god, this must be the most defilers I've ever seen in my life. We've got 26 defilers on the map, 8 queens and 21 zerglings and 206 larvae. That's quite impressive. So that's how you stop a cannon rush, apparently. Hopping into the next game, it is... oh well, I need to slow this down first to normal speed, because otherwise the next game will start with the same speed as well. It is Maracadec, a renowned Terran, which does a hybrid one multiple base bio mech play. It's quite good, and we've got a new bot, and that's also something you can do wrong. The bot is not starting, and how does that happen? It happens because from a lot of reasons, but that's very hard. And oh dear, this SUV got poked by that SUV and is now moving off. So it's not the AI working. Oh, it wins even. That's pretty good. It gets killed by the next marine. This is the standard of this AI, so if a unit gets attacked and run no commands, the unit will move out and try to kill whatever's attacking it. And Maracadec is... oh well, the game ended because 5 minutes no kill. So that's that, and now let's hop into the normal program. And we are starting off with an update by Alien. And Alien has been working hard on his Zerg. It's grown to be quite deadly. Now the question is, will it be able to take on Thomas Weider, Ximp the carrier bot? Again, speeding up the initial stages because, well, nothing much is happening anyway. And you can say that again, because there is a hatchery taken and a pool built, and that seems to be standard these days, that you take the natural first, then build a pool, then a couple of lings to play tag with a scouting probe, and then go and have a look at what's happening at the enemy base. The enemy base is quite secure for the time being, but I think 8 zerglings they might run by or do some damage. But a run by, the only bot which is doing that at the moment is Iron, which is still king in the land of bwapi, and by now 4 cannons you need a progressively higher amount of zerglings, because these cannons of course are ranged, they can attack more zerglings even if they are in the back without being able to be hit themselves. That said, Zerg is going for another hatchery. That seems to be quite standard too. Just build an in-base hatchery for more larvae, and you can build more Zerglings, and that's going to be some kind of tech. Nice contain with the Zerglings. I think nothing is going out of there, and perhaps you could storm this provisional setup with 4 cannons with that many lings and just do it by rallies, but Alien thinks the better of it. Going for more drones, that's always a good idea. Might also take another base, and has got a hybrid den and a lair, so that's either it's going to be Lurker or it's going to be some kind of wacky build, because if you are going to go lair you need a plan, and if you're going to go Hydra you need Hydras and not a lair. So I think this is going to be a Lurker play. Meanwhile Ximp safe behind a lot of cannons. You can see it's got a lot of room to build them in the choke of this natural, so that's very hard to attack with just lair units or lair level units. Another base being taken by Alien, and oh, that's a lot of tech. By now it's such a lot of tech that the carrier bot is building carriers, and they will pop out soon. So with only 1 Hydra here, a lot of tech and not really many drones here, you really need some kind of a unit to fight carriers. Oh, and there we go. Couple of neuters, they try to take down the goon and the cannon, but with 2 carriers for backup. Can't really see this happening, and of course you could kill the goon and then go for a lot of Scourge, but I think, yep, there's the Corsairs, and Thomas Weider has got this down to a T. There are some Scourge which are going to town on these Corsairs, and with the neuters and the 1 Hydra, there's 1 surely, oh no, there's 1 more. A couple of Hydras are on the map, keeping the Protoss air forces in check a little bit, but still doing a lot and lots of damage with the Corsair, with the splash. These neuters are not in sufficient numbers, and only 3 bases, so you could have taken more bases and you could have built more units. Now the Corsairs can be dealt with by these neuters, but they are taking so much damage, they haven't got a plan and they've got nowhere to run to, so you need to position a couple of Hydras on the ground, and all these mutas stacked, and the Corsairs run from them. They could have killed them easily, but now with the Scourge coming up as well, this one Corsair will be brought home. Meanwhile, the carriers kill all the Zerglings. That's also a good strategy, just delay the carriers by offering them a lot of Zerglings to kill, and as you can see, they're only killing them one at a time. And that's something else. They do attack the Scourge when they come in, and the Hydras, but if they are killing Zerglings, they attack them one at a time. And of course, if you've got 8 interceptors with 4 damage each, you could easily kill these lings one at a time. So about 4 times quicker, you're doing a lot of overkill damage. So if you have got these 4 carriers with 8 interceptors, that's 32 times 4 or 5 with the upgrades by now. 32 times, you're doing 150 damage to a single Zergling, and that's not optimal because they only got 35 HP. Meanwhile, Zerg taking another base and building more Scourge, but there are such a lot of Corsairs. Oh, one snuffs it, that's unexpected. Micro of these Corsairs isn't perfect yet, that's reassuring for any Zerg, surely. And these mutas are so low, they are so very low. And the solution, of course, is quite easy. You build a couple of, used to do that all the time when I was playing the Blizzard AI, build a couple of spores, and these Corsairs are totally useless. Meanwhile, the carrier's still stuck on these Zerglings, and no expansion taken by Protoss. So that's, I think, a win for Zerg, because starting its 5th base now, building a lot of Corsairs. Oh, and Protoss now starting its 3rd. So if Zerg can nip this in the bud, it would be okay. Natural and is still okay, but the main is getting low for Protoss, and the Corsair numbers are growing ever stronger. That's very impressive. But occasionally they do take a Scourge hit, and I don't know. Oh, they are so powerful. They do 5 splash damage, so they instantly kill any Scourge that's coming in. And that's the deficit of Ximp. It can build carriers, and the carriers are quite good. Where are the carriers by now? Have they died somewhere? I don't know. But if it detects enemy air units, it will build Corsairs. And of course, with Corsairs you can do a lot of things, but you cannot win a match with them, because they have a tendency not to be able to shoot buildings and Hydras and all kinds of useful units for Zerg like that. More bases being taken by Zerg. No, that's an Overlord, and a lot of Scourge. And as you can see, the Zerg has got a lot of Scourge, and they try to attack Corsairs head-on and try to kill a Nexus. At this point, Zerg isn't building any Zerglings. It's got the money. If it will build a couple of more hatcheries, it could build so many more. Oh, that's just a massacre of Scourge. So this is also going very wrong. Protoss isn't building any units which can attack the ground, and Zerg is kind of stuck on a lot of Scourge. And there are Scourge all over this, and the number of Scourge that are dying is huge. Now more bases being taken by Zerg. Perhaps that's going to tilt the game in Zerg's favor, but so many Overlords are dead, and they think, well, we need to have a look at this, and they sort of forget there are about 10 Corsairs there which almost instantly kill any and all Overlord in there. Oh, Ximp has gotten back to carriers, that's good, that's very good. But Zerg is now all over the map, and these carriers will have a hell of a job putting it all down. Now more hatcheries are being built, so Zerg is putting all the stops, and the unit production coming out of this Zerg will be insane very shortly. Now the carriers are attacking the main, or what was the main, but there are so many Scourge, and oh, now the Corsairs come off to help. Unfortunately, it seems that they are going back again. If they spot no Scourge, they come here, they check, and they say, well, stop. Any Scourge about? No, let's head back. And they go back to their own main base. And of course what happens is there are more Scourge being built, and they snipe another carrier, and lo, they come back. And by now there is only one carrier left. The base is still standing. It will probably survive because the Corsairs are moving back again. And the last, oh no, the carrier lives with only a sliver of health, and now it's going to fall. And I always like that explosion of blue puffs on the screen with these interceptors dying. I like that a lot. They don't crash, they just evaporate. But by now Zerg is all over the map with 73 workers versus 47, natural of Protoss getting low, and there are no more bases to be taken. Of course, if you need to mine out this this mineral patch and ferry a drone or a probe over here, that needs a lot of work, and there are no bots doing that, so that might be on the to-do list, and another carrier snuffs it. And that's just horrendous, because these Corsairs have got things well under control in the air department, but they are just not really on point versus this Scourge army. And as you can see, another one dies, because these Corsairs are turning so much they aren't really doing what they're supposed to do, and that's kill Scourge. Or protect these overlords and not ferry off, move off to this cannon field, which is perfectly fine from this paltry Zergling Hydra army, but this paltry Zergling Hydra army is going to grow incremental. Oh, that was a good battle for the Corsairs. And they kill so many Scourge left and right, so many overlords die. Again, 4 carriers, but the natural is out. There is only 1 base mining, and if you've got the entire map in your face, look at it. It's going to be a huge mass of Hydra Ling, and these the Corsairs are still conflicted, and these carriers are totally unprotected. Now the Corsairs come back and they say, "Oh, our carriers are gone, how nasty is that?" I can only imagine talking such a dumb voice because their behavior is so dumb, but of course that's not the Corsairs themselves, that's just a bot which doesn't provide a static cover to the carriers. This carrier has got a nice friend to play with, the Overlord, and another one is coming too. But as soon as the Corsairs move out again, oh, right in time, they just kill it. The carrier takes some damage, but it's saved for the time being. This army, though, is going to be a bit of a problem, because at one point the Zerg is going to think, well, 1A, 2A, 3A, and let's have it over with. And that's another thing which needs working on, because there need to be more Hydras to kill these Corsairs. By now the Protoss is gone, and with this army you could easily take down this base. And that's also something... oh, we've got an Ultra too, that's nice. You need to be able to determine where you've got to attack, because there is a huge cannon field here, which will take a lot of pain to attack into. Of course, if you've got all this income, it's not really a problem. Oh, here we go. No, that's not. Let's move back again. Lots of damage taken. And the cannons. Oh, this one's got a bit of shield damage, and that's something. And the Corsairs and the carriers are doing lots of damage to this ground army, because it doesn't really attack air. But if you were to ferry a small portion of this ground army over here, it could raise the main. If you were to attack here, it would be totally dead. But if you do this, and that is sit still while this carrier army is killing your ultras, you may have all the eco in the world, but it's not really going to work, is it? And although Zerg is really keeping its money down quite nicely, the game ran out of time, and that's it, basically. It's a stalemate, because neither player could see its way to victory, and this entire Zerg army could have killed the Protoss long ago. These Corsairs, although they were quite silly, as we have seen, they couldn't really kill the enemy, and that's how games end sometimes. So, again, not really... well, it's okay, but it can go horribly wrong. Being the theme of today, and this is one of the games I didn't see. It's Zer, which has received an update as well, which is good, because updates always are interesting. And Megabot hasn't been updated, but it's using the build orders of, I think, University of Alberta, Aya, and what's it called? Oh, that's a gas steel, that's pretty pro. And as you can see, this probe is trying to build an extractor. It's not working. Oh, it's using Skynet as well. So Megabot is it uses a couple of other bots and is trying to determine which is working best versus the enemy. And this gas steel, it's Zer is the only bot which is doing it. As you can see, this probe isn't attacking, there is no unit coming as of yet. So the build order by Protoss is being delayed significantly, because it's got 500 minerals and it's trying to build something which cannot be built, and it doesn't say, well, let's build a zealot and kill this thing. No, it's just stacking money. And Zer is having a field day. And although I didn't pick this game for something going wrong, It is a brilliant play by SSCAIT, and SSCAIT is now building a couple of units all of one base. I don't know what's with that. But as you can see, Megabot has now got 2k in the bank. It could build a lot of zealots, could do anything, but it's not really working. And by now the Hydra just come over and the Protoss bot rolls over and dies. Another pylon being built for some reason. Oh, now finally a zealot comes because it needs to spot an enemy unit to commence unit production or something, I don't know. But by now it's well too late. Natural taken, all the mineral only in base taken by Zerg, pretty late as well, and they just ignore this. Oh, they've got a more juicy target, which is this Nexus. But it's going to die as well, and they forget the pylon. And that's something which can go wrong as well. You can see now the Hydra scouting out every base in every nook and cranny, but it's not really working. And Protoss, of course, what can you do with only one pylon? There is one Hydra coming back here. It's now going to find... Surely it did see that pylon. Must have. It must have seen the pylon. It has seen the pylon. All the Hydras now converge. 2 bases, lots of Hydras. So that is how a gas steal can win you a game. Again, things going wrong. Then we have got... I got notified by... TSMU himself, which was in chat, which is a rare occurrence. He said, well, have you seen my bot play versus Crazio? And I thought, well, why not? And I had seen that TSMU had been updated. I saw a couple of games, and I thought, well, I couldn't really see it because it was already in a bit of a state, doing some kind of weird play with shuttles and scouts. And I thought, well, why is that so interesting? Has it? But every time TSMU has an update, it's either something incredibly ludicrous, or something really magnificent, or a combination of both. And the only coder which can make that combination work is TSMU. So let's go and have a look. Crazio sitting behind its barracks, being rather cautious, keeping its first vulture at home now with the tank, and as you can see, once the tank is there, the vulture is moving out, trying to keep an eye on TSMU, and TSMU going for a handful of gateway units and a shuttle. Don't know what it's carrying as of yet. Another shuttle, 2 shuttles with something or nothing in it, and perhaps, oh, a scout. So we've got the scout and we've got the shuttles. So I think this is going to still be a game with scouts and reavers. Oh dear, oh dear. One reaver dies, but a lot of SCVs snuff it as well. And that's pretty good, because there are 2 more, there is 1 more shuttle. And apparently it's trying to find a place to unload its deadly cargo, and 1 more here. These tanks have got to dig their heels into the ground and do a lot of damage. Ooh, and these shots of these reavers are doing really lots and lots of damage. These tanks are just being outranged ever so slightly by these reavers. And this Goliath will have to wobble away for its life. Shuttle getting a bit low, but okay, TSMU taking a 3rd. And so far so good. It's 2 port scout with 2 Robo Bay Reaver shuttle versus the number 2 Terran in the game. And this barracks is taking a lot of damage because the anti-air of these scouts is pretty good. In that regard, it's almost like a Wraith with good anti-air damage and pitiful air-to-ground damage. But Crazio's getting very restless because there are carriers here at the back, killing... Oh, that one snuffed it. No, not carriers, reavers at the back. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The shuttle's getting low. And the Goliaths are getting low as well, but no mining is going on, and a lot of buildings taking damage too. So all in all, I think TSMU is doing lots of damage at the front, at the back, and here in the middle as well, with the scouts, taking a couple of pokes here and there. Crazio can't really settle down, and supply-wise he's in a bit of a quandary with 75 versus 123 supply. Protoss happily mining along and building some kind of tech in the middle of the map. And a shield battery for these shuttles, that's pretty good, and for the scouts as well. So that's a nice update. If you're going to play air, you can hop back to replenish your shields, and I think that's a good addition to TSMU Protoss. Meanwhile, the entire base looks kind of ragged. like it's had a bad night of the Reavers and the Scouts, and of course I'd feel pretty bad too if I were being manhandled by a couple of Scouts and Reavers myself. But Crazio is clamping down, trying to get the tank position up, but there is just so much going on from all angles. And although TSU is fighting with the most expensive and the slowest units, it's doing pretty well because Crazio for some reason refuses to lock down its base. Turret here, there, and for 500 minerals you're perfectly safe. Only there are 2 turrets here and 0 turrets here, and a lot of units mulling about. And Crazio is not expanding at this point, and TSU's got 5 bases right now, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. Oh, that's not a tech building, it's a shield battery, and the Scout is happily flying along with more energy. Oh, you can see that shuttle is going to this shield battery and not this one, because this one's empty. And that's pretty good, so TSU obviously has got a shield battery manager. By now the SUVs are crawling all over the map, repairing everything. Worker-wise, Crazio's 40 against 61, that's okay. But TSU is just so full in its face with the look at how fast they are killing these flying buildings. And although a lot of damage is being done by these tanks and by these Goliaths, every time a unit gets critical or shuttle gets critical, it hops back to base, hits a shield battery and moves off again to attack the enemy. And by now Crazio is, although the supply is gaining, earlier it was at 75, now at 103, so I think that it may still have a chance to beat TSU at this game, in this game. It would do wise to make a couple of turrets in the rear though, because TSU, as you can see, it's just flying around with these shuttles, with these observers, trying to find a corner or a nook to poke in, and that should only be taken one way. Could probably have avoided the verb take as well, but yeah, there we go. Crazio now setting up shop with more tanks, so these Reavers can't really get into range. These flying buildings taking a lot of damage, but with the Goliaths growing in numbers, TSU is being shut down a little bit at a time. 128 supply for Crazio now, but Crazio really needs another base, although the mining is still there, because, well, the SUVs have been tortured so much, and now the push is coming. The push is coming, and while the push is coming, it's just pure units, and the only thing you've got to do is protect your natural to not get conflicted. And that's a hard thing, because TSU was all over this with shuttles and scouts and a lot of observers. That's nice, because if you are going to make good decisions, you need good scouting information, and TSU certainly has got good scouting information. These observers are so active. Look at that. This one is just mopping all around, skimming all around the edges of the terrain and keeping tabs on mines, on buildings, on units. And ooh, that tank just barely survives. And I wonder why that is, because TSU has got these observers, he knows exactly where all the mines are, and still he drops a Reaver right on top. That's kind of strange. Oh dear, we had a mind control gone off, I think, because it had no energy left, or it got damaged. But the question is, where is the mind control thingy? Oh, perhaps killed by its own army. And now Crazio is somehow stalling. 140 is just growing ever so slightly anymore, and TSU is approaching max. Still, our 5 bases could take another base, because its main is getting low as well. And the Dark Archon, oh, it's got a science vessel and it gets away. We've got a it's badly damaged, so it's not going to do anything, but it's and it took a Dark Archon which got killed apparently. Oh, and now oh no, it's here. We've got a proto science vessel, and of course I think TSU is using it as an observer. Oh, we've got an irradiated SCV! Oh, this is brilliant. TSU, I love you so. It's always a pleasure to watch. Not only taking over a science vessel, but also irradiating an SUV. That's got to be worth the 250, well, the cost of 2 Dark Archons and the cost of a 1 Dark Archon, 2 Dark Templars, and a science vessel to irradiate an SUV of the Terran, which you just stole a science vessel from. Now the main is getting low for Crazio, and as you can see the supply is falling a little bit again, mainly because this army of Crazios is so exposed, and the comsats are all expanded, and these Dark Templars are now doing a lot of damage, and the science vessel which was here has been... oh, there is another one, so perhaps we will get to see another another mind control or a feedback or something like that. A shuttle still moving in and out, running all about. 3 shield batteries, that's pretty good. That Crazio supply was at 140, it's now falling again. These scouts, of course, they can't do much against 4-5 Goliath with the tanks behind them. So Crazio is pretty safe, but it's not getting anything done because it can't move out, and the main is mining out slowly but surely. And TSMU taking another base because it needs money for some reason, or to make units. Oh, and we've got a real Archon, that's Q2. It's going to die pretty soon, but not before taking a tank along with it. And we've got Storm and all, so TSMU really pulling all the stops. Crazio getting more and more frustrated by the minute. And yeah, what can you say? Need to keep an eye on the time, because if I don't, I'm going to miss the upload benchmark. The video needs to be uploaded in about 1.5 hours, I think. And the internet speed in the third world country of the Netherlands isn't all that great. Well, it is great, but I'm just too... Oh, that was a really good storm. Oh, that really invigorates me. And another... Oh, that one sort of dud. But Crazio's being pushed back hard with all the Reavers and the Storms and the Scouts. It's going to be one big massacre. This base is pretty safe for now, but there are just so many units hopping all over. This one Vulture attracted an Observer and a lot of Zealots. And now TSMU's mate is moving in for the kill. We've got a Reaver in the base, we've got a Scout in the base, multiple Scouts all across this territory. And Crazio with a suboptimal factory placement, dropping in supply, the Naturals mining out too, and I can't imagine why TSMU would recommend this game to me, because it's utterly brilliant. As you can see, oh, we've got, where is it? We've got the Dark Archon. Has it got enough energy? It has... seems to have mind controlled something, because its energies are both low. The question then is, where is the unit it took? I don't know. It's hard to keep an eye on that. I need some kind of a pager, which pages me if something cool happens, like a nuke or mind control. Ooh, that is not really the way you attack into a Terran siege defense, but obviously you can do it if you've got the map versus only one mineral patch. Going to speed it up just a notch. Oh, that's cute. Storm on the high ground, and all these units of Crazios, lots of them damaged, and lots of units of TSMUs. The Reavers are being microed to death, but still they are taking a couple of units with them. This factory is going to burn down by itself. The Zealots now move in, and they move out again. Even TSMU is not invulnerable to that kind of illogic decision making. To move in, lose half of your Zealots, move out, lose the other half, and return with no Zealots. Are there more units being built? I don't know what this is about. Apparently there is some kind of urgent thing to do here. Oh, there is a Zealot drop. A Zealot drop. Oh, hello, a Goliath drop. So Crazio did manage to poke back a little bit. But then again, the SCVs moving around here are not really having much fun with this Protoss army roving. Now everything is back here to do more damage to... Oh, the factory's been repaired, and this is the bit of the Alamo. It's one last ditch stand for Crazio, and of course it's got the good position with these neutral buildings here, tightening the choke, but there are just too many Scouts and too many Reavers. And besides, there is a shuttle veering across this end of the map. It's going to drop again, but it's not really... It's only... The Reavers only seem to be interested in units, not in buildings, and that's a bit of a problem. Oh, we've got another science vessel, and it gets away with a sliver of life again. Perhaps we'll see another irradiate, but by now the Dark Templar and the Zealots are so good, and that's a pretty good, I think that's almost like a queue. If you take the science vessel, then move in with the Dark Templar, so that's pretty good. As you can see, there must be Reavers in there, but they're only coming out if there is an SCV to shoot at, or a tank. And the buildings are left mostly unharmed, and they could do a lot of damage versus those buildings as well. That said, the Terran base looks like this. I'm going to grant TSMU the victory. I'm brilliantly done. And the big question is then, What will TSMU do versus the number 1 Terran, which is still called Iron? And Iron is so very dominant. I need to show you how dominant it actually is. This is the score screen, and it's got an let me pause this for just, oh no, it's going at just 4 times the speed. We've got a while. We've got this is the ranking with the upcoming matches, and Ironbot's got an ELO rating of 2461, which is 100 points higher than the number 2, and a 10% increase in comparative win rate over the last 50 games. And you can be sure that Ironbot has been pitted against Razio and TSMU Protoss a lot, and versus any other good bot. So it's a force to be reckoned with. It's very good. And as you can see, after Iron, it sort of plateaus. We've got Razio, Killer Bot by Marian Diveka, and then you've got a lot of bots with 60, and ELO-wise, it's dropping precipitously, because 2461, and here we are more than 200 ELO lower, and it goes pretty hard from there. TSMU Protoss has only got a win rate of 56%, so it's earned that. Now, the game. Iron is going to wall off, which is pretty good. It prevents any kind of scout from getting in there, and will it be... oh, it's just a little bit too late, that's a pity. But the idea is pretty solid, just to have no scouting going on in your base. And of course it can also work as a gate. Ooh, and now the probe gets out, and this base is safe for enemy scouting for the time being. TSMU going for a very quick gas extractor and another base, so going to play the same game, I think. This one Marine is having field day, and of course you are getting the vultures now, and as soon as the vultures are there, the port opens and the gate opens and the vulture move out, and that's one vulture who's going to catch this scouting probe. Oh, we'll leave it alone, and going to take a look at the base. TSMU with a small gateway army, safe for now, but there is the first tank already, and the tank is guarding the base while all the vultures are trying to do the containing versus 3 dragoons, which, as you can imagine, is not really working. With the minefield, oh, this setup is going to be so deadly, because these vultures can contain any zealots and probes coming out, while the goons don't really have an answer to these bites. Ooh, there goes another. And with a Wraith of Irons too, this is going to be a hard fight for TSMU Protoss. And as soon as the tanks come, it's going to be a bloody massacre. Some mines cleared, the Reaver is now there, so vultures are not really all that impressive anymore. Mines all over the map, every expansion almost has been tagged, so Iron knows that something's going to happen. But the tanks are... I don't know what they are doing, but they don't seem to be inclined too much to attack or to help with the contain. And we've got the Scout. So the Scout is doing okay, because of course a Wraith isn't really a match for a Scout in firing power and armor. And of course the Vultures can't really do anything with Scouts either. Boom goes the Wraith. And that's a good victory for TSMU. TSMU now taking a third base, protecting it momentarily with a couple of gateway units. And now the vultures just move into the natural. There's a small lapse, but TSMU steps right on it, and oh dear, we've got a dropship too, which is going to drop nothing. Either it has got nothing loaded, or it doesn't think it's safe to drop and it dies. And by now we've got 2 scouts, a couple of carriers in shuttles, and observers. So all in all, TSMU is doing quite well. While these tanks are... they could... and would be so much deadlier if the tanks were in the front. And perhaps that's one of the things that you get when bots get more complex, that it gets... if something goes wrong on which more things are dependent, the bot will drop dead. And with a human player, you would see these tanks and you could just say, well, hello tanks, come here, move to there, and then... ooh, that was a really ugly mine hit, and now the tanks come into play. But there is no anti-air, and I think that one of the complexities of Ironbot is that it doesn't really consider scouts as a threat. It's building no turrets. The wraiths are only for harass. There are no turrets, no Goliaths. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scouts have got free reign in the natural. The third base, of course, is up for iron, but it's not really populated. TSMU's got 3 bases and just moving about like a madman. And the natural of Terran looks like this, and it's not really good. The scouts don't do much damage by themselves. This one is trying to attack this. Well, it is actually attacking the refinery, but it's doing such a pitiful amount of damage, it's not really working. And the only anti-air Iron's got at this moment are Wraiths. So, is TSMU Protoss better than Iron? Yes, it is, because it appears to be winning. It's got a lot of bases and a lot of units crawling across the map. But, ooh, that's how you make sure. And we've got 2, and look at how many moments of decision making are with these shuttles. They are changing course ever so slightly every couple of seconds, and they are being microed, and that's where this 10k APM is coming from. And all these units are doing that, so the decisions being made are, for TSMU, are okay, but there are just so many decisions. It's just a human player would make one decision and it's make, well, drop a couple of Reavers here, kill the command center, and that's 50 actions, perhaps, all in all. But TSMU is just spending hundreds and thousands of actions of just moving these shuttles around, and the net result is just that they are patrolling the middle of the map with a flock of observers and a scout for cover, and nothing much more is happening. Iron, meanwhile, steadfastly refuses to make any kind of anti-air, and that's a danger as well, because you need to have a generalized script to see what's air damage. Oh, that was a turret. Surely, I saw a turret, and there is one here as well. You need to have a script which says, well, this is an air unit we need to counter, and not just make a list of air units. So what's happening now is we've got battle cruisers, carriers, muters, scourge, and I don't know, arbiters, which are units. Oh, look at all the reavers. Oh, poor units. All the this depot was one-shotted almost by these scarabs, only if it was only collateral damage, and they're just doing such a lot of damage to these SCVs that the buildings are dying as well. So a bot needs to determine. Oh, and that's all collateral damage as well. And 4 or 5 scarabs later, the command center's taken 500 damage too, so that's going pretty well for TSMU. And that basically is the game. Have we got one more game left? Yes, let's close the day with a beautiful game of Microwave versus Martin Royerker's Leaderbot. And Microwave, I like Microwave. It's Zerg after all, which is good, and Terran is bad because it's Terran. No, it's not like that. But I'd just like to end the game with the broadcast with a good TVZ or ZVT, depending on which side of the spectrum you're on. And I think that these bots are not going to make too many errors. Of course they're going to make errors, but I hope this is going to be a good game to end broadcast with, because I've done this broadcast for the 2nd time now, and the first time I had all different games, so that's not really a slight upon me for doing the same games twice. But it ended with a game which was so full of errors that I thought, well, I can't really do this anymore, and I thought, well, let's make a game about errors and doing it wrong, and that's always fun. And you are bound to see a few interesting things or very good things, but if you focus on the errors of these bots and try to learn from them, it's better than to expect good games and see them marred by errors all the time. The Zerglings are being out-microed by these Marines, but the Marines are taking some damage, and Leaderbot is going to need more units because there are only 3 Marines left, and there are 2 Zerglings are going after this construction SCV, now moving back, and that's there is one For a moment these two SCVs, Zerglings, were killing the SCV, while two in the main were not getting enough traction on these Marines, and Litterbot needs to defend, and as soon as these two Zerglings here were losing it, the two Zerglings attacking this construction SCV were moving back as well. Now Litterbot is transferring some units, now with two barracks, but the damage has been done, and I think we're at this moment, and I don't like this music, at the end of the broadcast. Terran 1. Yeah, that's a good piece of music. Oh, there we go. The damage has been done. There are still Zerglings in the mineral line, and the SCV population of Litterbot is pretty low, especially compared to Zerg, because if you're 21 versus 21 workers as a Terran, you are a little bit behind. And now these Marines are moving out, trying to kill an Overlord, while there are more Lings are coming from Zerg, which is good, and a little bit of tech coming from Zerg as well, so that's good and all. Zerg saving up money for something, meanwhile making more Lings. Now with the bunkers, Litterbot's pretty safe. So finally we've got this game going. Microwave at 19, 18 workers, Litterbot at 30, both are 2 bases, and the question now is what kind of path are they going to take in the tech tree? Litterbot going for a lot of Marines and an academy, which is pretty good, considering bioplay versus Zerg is pretty good. You need to, perhaps it would be nice if more Terran players were to use drops or use science vessels better to really commit to a human-like TVZ bioplay, because that can be so strong, we have seen in the real human game department. But Litterbot now also going for a factory, and I think this is going to be an eBay. Yep, there it is. Meanwhile, Microwave going for Hydras and Mutas simultaneously, and that's not really, well, that's kind of greedy to make a lot of tech of only 2 bases. Could take another base, or really commit to either Mutas or Hydras. And if you are going to play Hydra Zergling versus a Bio-Terran, you're going to need to play very well or just have superior numbers, because Bio is going to be so effective with all the Marines, the stim and the healing going on. That's going to be very hard. Now with the siege tank too, and that's also something that I'd like to see players do more, to get some, to really get tanks on the high ground, because if you've got a tank here and a tank behind that, the tank behind it can't really be reached by any Hydra out there. Oh, you see now what a meat grinder this Bio army is. Litterbot pushing forward, and Microwave didn't really commit to either lurkers or mutas or anything. It's got a bunch of Hydras here and a ragged army here, and Litterbot's walking straight into main, and only now the Hydras are coming off the fight. But with the tank, the suppressing fire is immense. We've got 2 tanks, really 3 tanks, and although all the Marines are dead, more rallies are now dribbling in, and a 3rd taken for Litterbot. So Litterbot's got it. Natural is being torn apart, and this was this week's broadcast of the Students StarCraft AI tournament. We have got a new bot which unfortunately doesn't start yet. There must be something wrong with the hookup to the server, which will be fixed, I hope, soon. We had a lot of interesting updates. TSC Move Protoss has grown even more ridiculous, and the theme was errors and things I'd like to see done by bots, but mainly errors, and how to profit by them. So I hope you like this broadcast. Oh, that's a nice irradiate. If you like what you see, come visit us at our website. You can watch these bots play 24/7 all day long. You can even vote for the ones you'd like to see play. You can learn to play against these bots, to install them on your own computer and have a lot of fun with that. Or you can learn to code them yourselves, which is the most fun, although it would take a little bit of time. And we see one last error here, and that is that Litterbot isn't really moving up the ramp anymore. We've got a small batch of Marines over here killing stuff, but this Marine seems to be going down and this tank seems to be going up. And a couple of Marines seem to be parked, so that's not really going to work. With the army that's here is going to kill it. And that's always, as always, a reminder to keep your ramps clear. So this was the broadcast. Thank you for watching, and see you again next week.